Hello everybody, I hope you're all keeping safe and well and are ready to start our week of home learning. So today I'm going to be going through our maths lesson with you, and we have finished looking at 2D shapes, and this week we are going to be looking at something slightly different. So first of all, I'd like you to have a look at the screen, and I'd like you to have a little think about how many different lines can you count on the screen. So if you want to pause the video, and I want you to see how many different lines you can count on the screen. Okay, let's see if we can count them together. So up here I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. On the screen I can count 11 lines. And I want you now to have a think, how many of those lines are horizontal and how many are vertical? What do you think these words might mean? See if you can tell somebody in your house, what do you think these words might mean? So, a horizontal line is a line like we can see this bright green line here. So a horizontal line is a line which runs from right to left or left to right. So a horizontal line is a line that's going across from left to right or right to left. So a vertical line is like we can see this red line here, and a vertical line is a line which runs from top to bottom or bottom to top. So we've got horizontal going across left to right or right to left, and vertical top to bottom or bottom to top. And we're going to be having a look at these words in a little bit more detail. So I'd like you to have a look at this picture of the butterfly. What do you notice about the butterfly? Pause the video and have a little think. What do you notice about the butterfly? So I can notice that the butterfly looks exactly the same on both sides. And if I was to get a vertical line going straight down the middle of the butterfly, I can see it's exactly the same on both sides. The wings are the same size and the wings at the bottom are also the same size. So if I was to chop it in half or draw a line down the middle, it's exactly the same on both lines. And this is what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be having a look at what all of these different words mean. And we've had a little look at this before when we looked at the Taj Mahal, because when we drew the Taj Mahal, we talked a lot about how it was symmetrical. And we know that if something's symmetrical, it means it's the same on both sides. And that's what we're going to be looking at this week in maths. We're going to be looking at symmetry. So if I go back to the picture of our butterfly, I have drawn a vertical line of symmetry down the middle because I've drawn my vertical line going from top to bottom, and my butterfly is symmetrical. It's the same on both sides. So we can say it's got a vertical line of symmetry. The wings are symmetrical. And that's the same if I had a mirror and I put my mirror down the centre of my butterfly, the reflection would look exactly the same. It's got a symmetrical mirror line. And another word for explaining if something's the same is identical. If something's identical, it's exactly the same. So what do we think it might mean if something's asymmetric? What do we think that might mean? If we know that something is symmetrical, it's the same. If it's asymmetric, it means it's not the same. It's not symmetrical. So we're going to be looking at horizontal and vertical lines of symmetry. Now, in our daily overview, I did ask if you could print off or draw some 2D shapes that we looked at last week. So I'd like you to pick up one of those shapes. If you haven't got a chance to have printed them off or draw them, just pause this video and see if you can get hold of one on a piece of paper. So I'm going to pick up one of my shapes that I've got here, and I have got a square. And using the shape that you have picked up, I'd like to see if you can fold it to see if there's a vertical line of symmetry. Remember, if something's vertical, it goes from top to bottom. So I'm going to fold it this way to create my vertical line of symmetry. I'm going to fold it in half, create my vertical from top to bottom line of symmetry. And I'm going to open it up and have a look. Is it the same on both sides? I can see it is the same on both sides. So a square has got a vertical line of symmetry. I'm going to see if I can do the same with this shape here. This time I've got a triangle. Remember, vertical means from top to bottom, so I'm going to fold it across this way. Make sure it's folded and then open it up. I can see my triangle also has a vertical line of symmetry. Can you pause the video and have a go with the shapes in front of you? Which shapes have got a vertical line of symmetry? Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at experimenting to fold some vertical lines of symmetry. So next, I'd like you to have a look at these shapes. Where would we draw the vertical lines of symmetry on these shapes? Where do we think we might draw them? Remember, if it's going to be symmetrical, it needs to be exactly the same on both sides. So if I was to draw a vertical line of symmetry going down my triangle, I'd need to make sure I'm going right down the middle of my triangle, and I can see it's exactly the same on both sides. So it has got a vertical line of symmetry. Would it be fair if I drew my vertical line of symmetry on my pentagon here? Why not? Is it the same on both sides? No, it's not the same on both sides. And we know if something's symmetrical, it needs to be the same. So I need to put it down the middle of my pentagon, and I can see it's exactly the same on both sides. Let's have a look at the square. So I'm going to find the middle of the square, which is around here, and draw my vertical line of symmetry from top to bottom. We can also do it from bottom to top. So if I have a look at the rectangle, I can draw my vertical line of symmetry going from the bottom to the top of my rectangle. So all of these shapes have all got vertical lines of symmetry. Next, let's have a look at these shapes. Do all of these shapes have a vertical line of symmetry? I'd like you to pause the video and have a look at these 4 shapes. Which ones have got a vertical line of symmetry and which ones haven't, and how do you know? Okay, let's start with our triangle. So I'm going to start in the middle. Remember, we're still looking at vertical lines. I'm going to start at the top of my triangle. Has it got a vertical line of symmetry? Yes. Let's look at this heart shape. So I can see the middle of the heart is here, and I'm going to draw my vertical line of symmetry down the middle. And I can see it's the same on both sides. So I know it is symmetrical. It has got a vertical line of symmetry. Let's look at the octagon next. Let's find the middle of the octagon and draw our line of symmetry. I can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices this side, 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices this side. They look exactly the same, they're identical, so it means they have got a vertical line of symmetry. Let's move on and look at the triangle. Where do I think I might start to draw my vertical line of symmetry here? Going to just go down the middle so I can see the middle is roughly here. Does the triangle have a vertical line of symmetry? How do we know? I can see it's not identical. It's not the same on both sides, so it's asymmetric because it's not symmetrical. Okay, this time the lines have already been drawn for us, and we can see they're going from top to bottom, so they are vertical lines as well. Which of these shapes has an incorrect line of symmetry? Can you pause the video and explain to somebody which shape does not have a vertical line of symmetry? Which one has been drawn incorrectly, and how do you know? So I'm going to start with the circle. It looks like it's identical on both sides. It's the same, so this one has been drawn correctly. Let's have a look at the hexagon. It's got 1, 2, 3 vertices this side, 1, 2, 3 vertices this side. It looks the same. It is symmetrical. What can we notice about the triangle? The rectangle, sorry. Is it the same on both sides? Is the rectangle the same on both sides? I can see that this side is bigger, so it's not symmetrical. If we wanted to make it symmetrical, we would need to draw our line of symmetry down the middle of our shape. And we can see that this last shape here is exactly the same on both sides. It's symmetrical. Next, we're going to move on to these shapes. Which shape is the odd one out? Can you explain or think in your head which one is the odd one out? A, B, C, or D, and Y. Remember, we're thinking about lines of symmetry. Which one is the odd one out? Which one is different? Okay, so for this question, we're going to start off by looking at each shape and seeing which one we think might be different, which is the odd one out. So I'm going to start with A, and I'm going to think about my vertical line of symmetry. Does A have a vertical line of symmetry? Have a little think. Just going to draw my vertical line of symmetry down B, and C, and D. So I can see both B, C, and D all have vertical lines of symmetry. So we know that A is the odd one out because it does not have a vertical line of symmetry. Our last question then, it says look at these shapes which are symmetrical. So pause the video and have a look at these shapes which are symmetrical. Okay, let's start looking at the house over here. I can see there's a window on both sides. I can see it's cut halfway down the door. But if I look at the roof, what can I notice that means they are not identical, they're not the same? What can you see? That's on this side, but not this side. I can see the chimney. So the house is not symmetrical because it's not exactly the same on both sides. How about the picture of the hand? If we hold up our hands, are they the same on both sides? If I cut it down, do I have a thumb on both sides and a little finger on both sides? No. So our hand picture is not symmetrical. Let's have a look at the picture of the car. I've got my vertical line of symmetry going down the middle, and it looks exactly the same on both sides. So it is symmetrical. How about the envelope? Does the envelope look the same on both sides? It does. It's symmetrical. And the last one is the crown. Is the crown exactly the same on both sides? Is it identical? It is. The crown is symmetrical. So you have got a couple of different jobs today. Your first job is you're going to have a go at this activity here. So it says, have a look at the shapes below and put a tick inside them if you think they are symmetrical. The next part you will need a ruler for, and it says draw a vertical line of symmetry on the shapes below. So you're having a go at using your ruler to draw a vertical line of symmetry in each shape. And then the last question is like we had a go at in the input, which says which shapes is the odd one out, and you need to make sure you explain why you think it's the odd one out. Your challenge will then involve the shapes which we either printed or have drawn, and you will need a square, triangle, hexagon, pentagon and rectangle. And you're going to investigate how many lines of symmetry they have. So they are your challenges today for maths, and I will be back tomorrow for another maths lesson. Bye!